Baby, be in love with your fantasies. I can be a star, make a sky so bright. Welcome to my dungeon, this is ecstasy. Let me play the fantasy.
I'm gonna go ahead and check out the Star Spangled Banner as you've never heard it before. There's supposed to be something in regards to that's a little bit different that a lot of people are not completely, I guess, privy to or up on in regards to the Star Spangled Banner, the words and how it's written, things like that. So I want to check that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into it, y'all. Star Spangled Banner as you've never heard it.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what they're going to talk about. Because we've always heard the Star Spangled Banner like in so many different outlets, so many different ways, just growing up.
I've sing it a number of times.
And you've sang it, so like I said,
I'm just like,
you're going to hear it in a way that you probably never heard it or realized.
Okay.
So,
okay.
but yeah, I didn't realize that you have sung the song.
Yeah, a couple times.
All right.
A lot of times. I've sang this song, so no, just got
All right.
it. Yes.
All right, so yeah, I mean, we're going to go ahead and jump into our first video, and I hope you guys get something from it. Y'all ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into it.
There was a lawyer once. His name was Francis Scott Key. He penned a song that I'm sure you're aware of. You've seen it. It's in most hymnals throughout our churches. It's called the national anthem. It is our song as an American. We go, however, to a ball game. We stand in our church services and we sing the words of that song, and they float over our minds and our lips, and we don't even realize what we're singing. Most of us have memorized it as a child, but we've never really thought about what it means. Let me tell you a story. Francis Scott Key was a lawyer in Baltimore. The colonies were engaged in vicious conflict with the mother country, Britain. Because of this conflict and the protractedness of it, they had accumulated prisoners on both sides. The American colonies had prisoners and the British had prisoners. And the American government initiated a move. They went to the British and they said, let us negotiate for the release of these prisoners. They said, we want to send a man out to discuss this with you. They were holding the American prisoners in boats about 1,000 yards offshore. And they said, we want to send a man by the name of Francis Scott Key. He will come out and negotiate to see if we can make a mutual exchange. On the appointed day in a rowboat, he went out to this boat and he negotiated with the British officials. And they reached a conclusion that men could be exchanged on a one-for-one basis. Francis Scott Key, jubilant with the fact that he'd been successful, went down below in the boats, and what he found was a cargo hold full of humanity, men. And he said, men, I've got news for you tonight. You're free. He said, tonight I have negotiated successfully your return to the colonies. He said, you'll be taken out of this boat, out of this filth, out of your chains. As he went back up on board to...
See, I wasn't aware of this. Like Francis Scott Key, I knew that he wrote the Star Spangled Banner, but in regards to like negotiating to get like prisoners
I didn't know that either.
Freed, in regards to like the British and in exchange between the two.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I never knew that.
Out of this filth, out of your chains. As he went back up on board to arrange for their passage to the shore, the admiral came and he said, we have a slight problem. He said, we will still honor our commitment to release these men, but it'll be merely academic after tonight. It won't matter. And Francis Scott Key said, what do you mean? He said, well, Mr. Key, he said, tonight we have laid an ultimatum upon the colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors of that flag that you think so much of, or you see that fort right over there, Fort Henry? He said, we're going to remove it from the face of the earth. He said, how are you going to do that? He said, if you will, scan the horizon of the sea. And as he looked, he could see hundreds of little dots. And he said, that's the entire British war fleet. He said, all of the gunpowder, all of the armament is being called upon to demolish that fort. It will be here within striking distance in a matter of about 2.5 hours. He said, the war is over. These men would be free anyway. He said, you can't shell that fort. He said, that's a large fort. He said, it's full of women and children. He says, it's predominantly not a military fort. They said, don't worry about it. They said, we've left them a way out. And he said, what's that? He said, do you see that flag way up on the rampart? He said, we have told them that if they will lower that flag, the shelling will stop immediately. And we'll know that they've surrendered, and you'll now be under British rule. Francis Scott Key went down below and told the men what was about to happen. And they said, how many ships? He said, hundreds. The ships got closer. Francis Scott Key went back up on top and he said, men, I'll shout down to you what's going on as we watch. As twilight began to fall, and as the haze hung over the ocean as it does at sunset, suddenly the British war fleet unleashed. He says the sound was deafening. There were so many guns that there were no reliefs. He said it was absolutely impossible to talk or hear. He said suddenly the sky, although dark, was suddenly lit. And he says from down below, all he could hear the men, the prisoners, saying was, tell us where the flag is. What have they done with the flag? Is the flag still flying over the rampart? Tell us. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling.
Okay, so the fort is just taking on just a barrage of like just cannon and firepower for the most part. See, like this part, I never really knew that this was like part of the actual war in regards to like like the colonies like being liberated from Great Britain or whatnot.
Yeah.
But like obviously like I said, in regards to how this story is like being told in regards to like play by play in regards to like what's happening. Now I can kind of start seeing like the actual like Star Spangled Banner and like the words to it in regards to like the shelling and the bombing, like the bombs bursting in the air part.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of the part that he's like that's described in the song.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's what I'm catching now.
Oh, okay, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay. Okay.
Because
yeah.
That's the part that
that's what he's. Yeah, that's
kind
what
of
he's
explaining in regards to
describing.
the
Yeah.
war. You know what I mean?
1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling. Every time the bomb would explode and it would be close to the flag, they could see the flag in the illuminated red glare of that bomb. And Francis Scott Key would report down to the men below, it's still up. It's not down. The admiral came and he said, your people are insane. He said, what's the matter with them? He said, don't they understand this is an impossible situation? Francis Scott Key said he remembered what George Washington had said. He said the thing that sets the American Christian apart from all other people in the world is he will die on his feet before he'll live on his knees. The admiral said, we have now instructed all of the guns to focus on the rampart to take that flag down. He said, we don't understand something. Our reconnaissance tells us that that flag has been hit directly again and again and again, and yet it's still flying. We don't understand that. But he said, now we're about to bring every gun for the next 3 hours to bear on that point. Francis Scott Key said the barrage was unmerciful. All that he could hear was the men down below praying. The prayer. God, keep that flag flying where we last saw it. Sunrise came. He said there was a heavy mist hanging over the land, but the rampart was tall enough. There stood the flag, completely nondescript, in shreds.
They're still standing there. They're still standing. So did they lose the actual war? Do you know if they actually lost the war? Because this was like the beginning of what, like the 1800s?
I cannot remember if they lost the war, but I do know for a fact, like the song was written behind this.
The chain of events?
Yeah, this particular event. Yeah, that's the reason why he's talking about like the bombs bursting in the air were so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleam. Yeah, so everything he's saying like is what he saw, what he was describing, what he like was looking at. So that's how the song actually was.
Like a first account witness to it.
Yeah. So when he wrote the song, it was about what it was that he was looking at and what he was seeing and like, you know, what it meant to him. And so that is where the Star Spangled Banner, like, yeah. So when you listen to the words, like, it does mean a lot. Like when you understand what it is that he's actually singing about, yeah, it means a lot.
But the Star Spangled Banner, like the words to it, right?
Yeah.
To the actual song. What? I can't remember how the words go. Can you like sing like a little?
Babe.
Can you just sing like a little snippet?
No,
I can't remember how it go.
Why would you do that? Why would you even do that? Babe, you need to go. You need to go.
Like how does it go? Like how does it go again?
I'm not doing that, babe.
Okay, but yeah, this is because this is like the early 1800s. Then we lost right, the war. Or did we win?
I cannot remember. I really can't remember. The part that is most distinct to me is him writing the song.
Writing the song about it?
Yeah.
There stood the flag, completely nondescript, in shreds. The flagpole itself was at a crazy angle, but the flag was still at the top. Francis Scott Key went aboard and immediately went into Fort Henry to see what had happened. And what he'd found had happened was that flagpole and that flag had suffered repetitious direct hits. And when hit had fallen, but men, fathers, who knew what it meant for that flag to be on the ground, although knowing that all of the British guns were trained on it, walked over and held it up humanly until they died. Their bodies were removed and others took their place. Francis Scott Key said what held that flagpole in place at that unusual angle were patriots' bodies. He penned the song, "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Or the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there."
Okay.
Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet fly and wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh, this gives me goosebumps.
You getting goosebumps?
Yes.
Just what? Just how he's depicting it and kind of like repeating the words.
Yeah,
the lines
I mean, like actually,
Banner?
like listening to this story. I mean, I know it's a very like profound type of story. The storyline behind like the national anthem and how and why it was actually written, but like just hearing how he's telling the story and then
patriotism.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like the courage, bravery to just stand out there knowing that you're gonna
knowing your fate. Yeah.
What's gonna happen because you're out there holding up the flag there are no words to say like the heroism in that. You know what I mean? Like you just can't take that away from like I don't know, like, you know, like who's just gonna just walk out there and just do that and just knowing that this is gonna be the end, but I'm gonna hold up the flag. You know what I mean? Like that it takes a lot. It takes a lot of, you know, and you can say you can do something, but it's a difference from saying it and actually doing it.
It takes a lot of fortitude, like you said, to be able to stand in the way of like a barrage of you know, knowing that your fate is going to end.
Mm-hmm.
The debt was demanded. The price, it was paid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming.
So proudly that we held at the twilight's last gleaming.
I need to hear you sing that part for me real quick.
Twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
I don't know why my eyes watering up.
Hey, it's a touching song, you know, like you said, like we just sat here said, it's a song about patriotism,
Ah,
heroism,
yeah.
about, you know, love for your country, you know, liberation.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
You think you can sing?
Leave me alone.
Okay. All right.
Leave me alone.
And the rockets spread clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wow. Wow. That was really good.
Wow. So
That was really good.
I feel like, so what? So this was what, off the back of the American-British War?
Yeah, it was. I know it's
Like
British
18?
British War. I don't recall. Good question though. I know it was British.
Because
the
I
British
wasn't,
War, but
I didn't know
remember.
that part of the war they lost. So they actually still lost the war, even though, you know, they stood courageously, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not even that, but you know, this was something that they never really like taught, you know, back in school. So I'm glad that I was able to actually like see this and kind of get a little bit more in depth in regards to like the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
Like I was aware of like the words, and you know we would sing it.
I don't think a lot of people like
the breakdown of the words.
I think a lot of people know, a good majority, probably a lot of military people, but
Okay.
there's a big chunk of people that also don't really know, like they know the words, they know how the song goes, we've heard it a million times, like over and
Yeah.
over and over, played it in band in the high school, you know what I mean? But they don't really understand what the actual meaning of that song is,
Yeah.
what it means, what it stands for, like what those words are actually, you know, what they mean, what they stand for. Like, there's so much depth in the stars, the national anthem in general, just because of what it is that they're talking about, and it's commendable. Like I said, bravery, you know.
I wonder what other great stories they have like that, where you can just really, really just get a lot of like information, like I said, just in regards to like our history, just going back a little further, getting it more in detail. I feel like this was a little bit more detailed than what I've kind of been used to.
Well, what I didn't know though, like what I do find a little bit interesting though, is the fact that there were bodies actually holding up the flag,
And it was
which
still
is
being
the
held
reason
up.
why it didn't fall.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the true definition of, you know, being a patriot, you know?
Wow.
I feel like everybody needs to at least like have a good understanding of the Star Spangled Banner, just so you'll kind of understand the words. Because like I said before, we sung it so many times back in school.
You see people get offended by it, like when people like disrespect the song in general because of what it means, what it stands for, what it's what it puts out. Like there's a lot behind that. I mean,
and even with
that's why people get so angry when people disrespect the song. Like, you see people, you know what I'm saying?
When they don't want to stand up for it.
You don't want to stand up for it. You don't want to, like, you want to, like, that is the reason. Why?
Yeah.
Because you got to think about what they did for that to happen.
Right.
For us to have, you know what I mean? For us to be where we are now. Like, it says a lot.
I could agree
We
with
won
that.
from independence. Won independence. Yeah. So we won. We won independence from the British.
In 1812?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey, there you have it.
Yeah.
Good deal.
No. Okay. No. 1812, and we didn't lose. That's when we won independence from the British. So, the War of Independence was 1777. Okay, now see now.
Yeah,
Okay.
1776, 1777.
I done already told y'all about how I feel about history.
And see, that should go right there. That's why people get upset when it touches the ground. And I do recall that a lot of times people would say that do not let that flag touch that ground.
They were not gonna let that flag fall.
Yeah.
And everything they went through, putting themselves out there like that to keep that flag flying up like that, and people just that is why like it enrages people.
Yeah. We can, and even to this day, we got to do our best to uphold that flag.
Yeah.
You know, to keep it up, to keep it flying. Don't let the flag touch the ground.
Yeah.
Do not let it touch the dirt.
Yeah.
You know.